If you're a fan of the Sly Guy podcast and you want a little more bang for your buck, head on over to patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast for bonus content, bonus podcasts, bonus podcast series, and of course, the jewel in the crown that is the bonus weekly guest podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast for as little as £2 a month. Get all the bonus content, including the guest podcast, Dog Walks with Davey, Serial Killing It, the Champions League of Weird, as well as other bonus videos and content with more to come, including potentially, it's happening, my stand-up special from last year at the Ulster Hall. My brand new stand-up show, Bits and Pieces, is coming to the Ulster Hall on the 10th of September 2022. Tickets are available through links in my social media, or if you want to go to ticketmaster.com or the Ulster Hall website, you'll be able to get them there. But if you're like, how do I find that, Dave? I'll tell you what to do. Type my name, Dave Elliott, Ulster Hall, into Google, and it will appear. Tickets are going nicely for the stage, so to get the best seats, chippity chop, and I'll see you there. The Sly Guy podcast is always brought to you in association with Modest Beer. I'm a Modest guy, they're a Modest Beer. If you want to know more about Modest, to originate in my original hometown of Hollywood, County Down, head to www.modestbeer.co.uk or hit them up on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at, you guessed it, Modest Beer. Enjoy the show.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to the Sly Guy podcast with myself, Dave Elliott. Now, I'm just coming off the bat to say we have to do things a little bit differently this week because the snake rat has been stricken with COVID. We thought this day would come because everyone's going to get it, and this week the snake rat has got it. And with that being said, I'm a little bit under the weather myself and couldn't just sit and natter for the whole hour because my nose is full of child germs from my own kids. I just want to point that out. That's not, not weird in that way, but my own kids have smited me once again. So what we're going to do is something a little bit different. We're going to make a compilation of some of the best bits from the guest episodes. I say the best bits that we can publicly put out there without getting myself or the guests into any trouble. But this week's going to feature Bake Off's Andrew Smith, the Olympian Rhys McClenaghan, comedian and friend William Thompson, and internet sensation and psychic Glenn. So you're going to see some of the bits of what's going on over on Patreon, and if you like it, you can go across there for the full episode. So guys, please buckle in and enjoy this week's Sly Guy podcast, aka the best of the guests. See you soon. See with you, I think as well, like I saw what you were doing more during the pandemic, so has that been something that you've maybe...
I'll not lie, the pandemic's been great for me. It has. I mean, it's been hard and stressful because I've had ADHD, and just it's been out of my normal. I mean, it took me a long time to even to have a routine and a structure, and then for me to be in my lovely routine and structure and for it all to fall apart with everybody else. Yeah, it served me well. I had to then really knuckle down and work and become. But any dependencies I had of other people, unhealthy relationships, friends, anything like that. There, I mean, it all went then. Yeah. So I was glad for it, like, really.
You know what, you are the third person, myself included, that I've spoken to that have said it's been beneficial to them. Because I know for me, I started doing, I very quickly went, right, well, I can't do stand-up anymore, so I'm going to put a bit more effort into doing the podcast and doing more effort into writing things. And then that's led to me to leave work, basically. So again, I think there's almost a stigma about saying it's been good for you. And I think some people have needed it, and certainly more people seem to have been comfortable in and of themselves since it.
Well, I'll tell you now, if you didn't find a wee something, anything at all belonging to yourself that whole 2 years, maybe we need another one.
Habits can be good as well, though. Like, you can have good habits, which is like a huge thing. Creating good habits, like waking up in the morning. I'm a big believer in like having a good morning to set up for the rest of your day. Like, get up, not check your phone. That's a big thing. People roll over out of their slumber and check your phone straight away, and they're on their phone for like half an hour in the morning, and you're sitting watching people like arguing on Twitter and whatnot. And that just sets up for like a bad day. Like, if you have negative emotions in the morning, then you're going to have them throughout the day. So like waking up fresh, like, I don't know, going and doing your meditation. Do you do any meditation or mindfulness?
I haven't done anything like that before. I've done breathing techniques just to try to calm, but haven't tried anything beyond that. Do you do that yourself, or would that be something you would recommend?
I try to do. Like, I would recommend it, but I'm not good at it myself.
Yeah.
It's like taking 15 minutes aside in the morning to do it, and the fact that I only get doing it like once a week when I want to do it every day, it shows to me like how challenging it actually is.
Yeah.
Like you say to yourself, like, right, I can sit down for 15 minutes and just like think, but you know, I only do it once a week, whereas I should be doing it every day.
And see, when you're doing that, do you like, is the purpose of that to try and clear your mind? Because I always find if I have like a bit of time, the first thing I think is, right, what can I do? What do I need to do? And then I'd be like, oh no, I need to do this. Why am I sitting here when I should be, you know, doing X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, you're completely right. It is to kind of like clear your mind, just to like think about other things that aren't like planning ahead or thinking in the past, or, you know, just being on your phone or whatever. That's just such a huge thing for me, not being on my phone, because I know that I'm addicted to my phone. Like I know that if my phone is in the other room, I'll be like, right, where is it? I feel like I'm crack addict, like being like, right, where's my smoking pipe?
And then do you sometimes have to say to people, you know, there's a bit of work you need to do yourself here?
This is where we're really getting to.
Yeah.
If you don't put the work into you, I mean, it doesn't matter. So many people just want me to fix everything.
Yeah.
And I can do it, it's fine. But if you put a wee bit of work into yourself, sky's the limit.
I know some people that are just like, they drag you down.
And you get these ones too. See, when you don't tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Murder.
Yeah, and has there been any time it springs to mind? Obviously, don't need to say.
You get these ones sometimes. Now, it happened way at the start. I would say about 5 years ago now, maybe. You'd done the Marie. No, that's not true. No, that's all this slobber and everything. 2 or 3 weeks later, oh, Glenn, I'm so sorry, Glenn. Please read me again, Glenn. And I do normally read them. I go, I always forget.
But how do you split that without going?
I laugh.
You know,
I laugh because I've been there too, and I understand. And I find too, the people that are really sceptic are the people that have been broke the most in life. And that breaks my heart, you know. If you've got a magic in you, I think it's when you're a child usually that magic's there. If that gets broken somehow, then sometimes in life when you're an adult, it can be harder for you to believe.
I am the enemy of sea swimmers. For whatever reason, over time, I just have become a spokesperson.
You start with like a big net.
Yeah, harpoon. I just get them. I'm like the child catcher, except of adult sea swimmers. Not, I don't catch children.
Leave that to Vinny.
Yeah, I've too many. I mean, any more would just be a nuisance. But over time, it's not so much the activity. I just want to come out and say that. I feel like it's almost like I get you know, if someone's in a sea robe or dry robe and they see me, they look at me like, you know, like I'm Voldemort. Oh,
have you ever tried on a dry robe?
You know what? This is the thing. I haven't yet. But as time goes by, the further and further I go against the sea swimmers, the more I feel like I'm going full circle, and eventually I'll be in the water. I feel there'll come a time.
I feel there's a dry robe sponsorship in the works.
Yeah, I mean, I think if ever there was a story arc to bring you around from hating something to, I mean, it's there to be had, but it's more the social media I don't like. You know, it's the posting, like, you would think people now, when you sea swim, what's the feeling when you do it? Like when you get in, like, what do you get out of it? What sell sea swimming to me?
I'd say it's type 2 fun, so it's horrible at the time.
Yeah,
you kind of feel good afterwards. Kind of like any form of exercise, really. Absolutely hate it during the moment, but and I was going to say, you know, then you can just, you know, gloat on social media about how virtuous you are afterwards. That's clearly part of the after fun. That's part of the experience, right? You gotta.
Well, one of the things,
if you don't tweet about it, did it happen? Kind of like that whole, you know, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it. So if you go sea swimming and you don't pop out a tweet, did it even happen?
Well, that's true. But I think a lot of people now, they say it's like a team, like Ellen DeGeneres, you know, the picture of the Oscars. There's always a load of people, and they're always up. Why are they always up? Why is sea swimming at 4 a.m. better than 10 a.m?
Well, I think there's so many of them now. They have to go in shifts.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They've just got to go. Because I mean, like, you go out, and you see like a flotilla of the little orange buoys that they have.
Yes.
You know, in case you get a dry.
I mean, are you allowed to say that? There's that offensive these days. Like, I mean, if you're flying away, like the Olympics were in Tokyo. So how long? Oh, that's a flight, like what, 10, 12 hours or something, is it?
Yeah, it's about 13, 14 hours.
And how then, for someone who, like, your tools, your body, so were you up and about, or did
on
you
the
get
flight?
like, proper?
Yeah, well, luckily I actually flew business class, so that was sweet. That was so nice. I did. Mate, there's nothing better than waking up in business class and the wee flight attendants there with a coffee. Like, that is the best coffee you could possibly have on earth. But other than that, I'm like up on the, you know, the way you can like have your I'm using the chairs as parallel bars pretty much, and like doing dips and like doing workouts on the plane and stuff just to keep my body moving, because it's not good to stay stay stagnant for that long.
Because I went to LA once, and this is what I thought was my most fancy plane experience. I went on an airline called Ethiopian Airlines. I don't know if you've heard of them before. I hadn't before I went. So again, Shane Todd had booked our flights, and he is renowned for like making mistakes.
Yeah.
Like if he books something, you go, oh no, what's wrong here? So whenever we went down to Dublin Airport, and we're flying Ethiopian, and we're like, the guys are like, where's the terminal for that? And they're like, down there somewhere. So I thinking, oh no, we've been mugged here. So we walked down, had our tickets, and went to go through. We're like, oh, we're the Ethiopian, and rather than like scan it or put it through a machine, the guy took it and punched it. So we were like, oh no. So he punched the ticket, and we thought, oh no, this is going to be the worst experience. But when we finally got to like the very end of the airport, it was a nice wee wing, and looked out, and it looked like a brand new plane. And we're like, oh sweet. So there must have been, no joke, about probably I'd say 30 people on this flight, and I had a full row to myself, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. I've got this, I can lie out. Now it's not business class, but I got the chairs up, and I was lying out. Now that was great. I got head on the headrest, just sleeping. It was great. Now I didn't get the nice awake, would you like a coffee? I got a trolley to the head. A guy came past me and just nearly scalped me off the head, and it was so sore. And I was like, oh, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, don't worry, I should have probably not been lying like that. And he was like, well, you shouldn't have. And I went, no worries. And then I was fine. I got up a bit, had something to eat, and then went back to sleep again. Way back down, did it again, and I thought, right, I'm just going to recline the rest of the way, because he nearly killed me, like, with a trolley. Today is the first time you've seen us both.
Yeah.
Do you feel anything of us? Or how does that... So say when you meet new people, do you judge new people quite quickly from what you feel from it, or what's the kind of
It can be hard on social media, because I think everyone has a mask. Everyone has this, oh, look at me, it's a mask.
Yeah.
But I can see beyond that, and that's where the beauty really is in a person. And yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited to see what you do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Are we giving you enough of our cup at the minute for you to read what you think?
So hold on, let me just say, there'll be a few times where I zone out here, because is the cup a metaphorical cup?
A cup's a metaphorical
cup. Okay, because initially
I
was thinking like a classical tea reading.
It's a metaphorical cup.
So in terms of, right, because I was like, is there tea about? Could we?
Yeah.
But in terms of our cup, is it I don't know if the phrase is open, or is it
the only thing I'm going to tell you is sugar level.
Sugar
level, you need to watch sugar level, because that might be a problem in your life at some point, and it will help. Yeah, it will help if you're ever diagnosed that way, because you will feel great. Dave, I know what it's like to sometimes not love yourself.
Yeah.
But believe you me, you're going to love yourself.
Well,
I love this advice. I fucking love it.
What I'm saying here, I said earlier about having a trainer on me.
Yeah.
This year is the year that I'm cutting the weight.
Yeah.
And this year is the year that one of the things I'm looking to do is cut the sugar.
Yeah. Oh, I think your weight's fine. It's just if you would feel happier in yourself, it would be better.
You know what? That's
a good takeaway from today.
What about him? Can you feel from him sitting over there behind his mic, away from us?
You're very clever, and what you're creating right now is only a facet of what you can create. And I do believe that there is something about documentaries. And I don't know what I'm saying, Greenfield's documentary, I don't know.
That elite mindset that whenever you are competing at such a level like yourself, is it the one goal you are like, once I attain that, or where the goals come in?
Yeah, well, like, it's an interesting thing about sport at the elite level is everyone thinks that you're healthy. It's like, oh, well, he's obviously healthy, and like, because he's an athlete or whatever. But literally, when I was at the Olympics, when I was greeting people I hadn't seen for a while, I would just like say like, oh, so how are you? Are you healthy? Are you well?
Yeah.
I didn't get one person that went, yeah, I'm all healthy. They're all like, not so good. Yeah. Like, I am falling apart. Like, I've got 2 surgeries pending, or I've just had a surgery. Like, elite athletes are not healthy people, and bodybuilding's that extreme example as well. Like, it's not healthy to cut your fat percentage down to 2% or whatever they're doing. Like, you get sick, and it's the same for athletes. I mean, you need to not go to that extreme, but you're pushing your body to the absolute limits, especially with gymnastics. It's like you're doing stuff that your body shouldn't be doing, and repeating it over and over again. That's why, like, I've had stress fractures in my wrists and shoulder surgery. Like, your body just falls apart because it's not actually made to do that.
What then? I think the next move, obviously with the new show, it merges your your actual background in engineering. So what I want to know is what was the first love? Was engineering the first, and then you just happened to be a hobbyist baker, or where did that kind of?
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like
merge?
a hobbyist in both,
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, I always ate stuff at home, but then Mum was quite like particular. You know, that's a perfectly normal thing to say. I tried to help when I was at home with the whole baking, like when I was younger, but usually if something did need to be stirred, I'd be the one stirring it, and I'd just be kind of generally interfering. So I was like chief taste tester.
Yeah.
That was like how I was branded. So I only really got into that after I'd gone away and done the engineering. So I guess technically the engineering came first, and then I realised that I wasn't too bad at the whole baking thing, and then thought I'd just chuck my hat in the ring with a speculative bake-off application. And then when you realise you get on, then you panic. That you've actually got to be good rather than just saying you're good on the application form. Fake it till you make it. That's kind of the mindset.
But what you're runner up in it, so you know that's
absolute chancer.
I mean that's great work.
If you'd have seen some of the audition, I'm convinced, and this isn't an exclusive. I'm convinced that when they cast people on Bake Off, they have people who they think are going to go like the whole way to the final.
Yeah,
they have like the middle ones, and they've got like the chaff that's going to be like wiped out early. I'm pretty sure they had me as like chaff, because in my audition I made a cake, and they film you doing the auditions, and I made a cake, and I'd like drawn on a circle of like parchment for the cake, and I baked the cake with it the wrong way around, so there's basically a line of lead around the inside of the cake, which got given to the producers, and I also forgot to line the tin, so I had to chisel it out with a knife. Complete disaster. So I'm pretty sure I was down as like
they're like
he's a week 3 kind of guy, and then when I've just kept on sneaking my way through, I think they were as surprised as I was.
It can disrupt things if you go to places. Is that something? Is there like like, you know, they say there's chemtrails on airplanes and stuff. Do you feel if you are connecting to another world, is there can you upset like the purgatories people might say where the spirits are? Can they come in?
Well, I've been up to Carnegie House a few times because I love Thomas Dixon, and the more I went up, the more I felt him. And I went up there just at the first full moon in January there. It was last Sunday actually, and it's already dilapidated even more, but when I went up there last year, something came back with me and came into my energy, and it woke me up during the night. But I had to go up and bang and get to go away.
Yeah, is that how you do it?
Yes, you make it. They like it whenever you're afraid. They like to be able to control that. But whenever you're erratic or they don't know, I mean, bang and make loud noises, they don't like it. They don't like it.
The
at all.
spirits don't like
they
when
don't
you
like
make
it. No.
So what sort of loud noises do you make without like?
Well, I have a rattle
voices?
now. I have like a proper shaman rattle that my friend got me, but I got up with the pots and pans.
And you just
I
bang
blatted
those?
it out, yeah.
And do you scream or anything?
No,
No,
it wasn't.
just pots and pans.
I actually froze. I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I had to ring my friend in America. I was like, I can't move. And he's like, get up and make a loud noise now. And I got up and I banged. And that was it. I was away.
And that was in your house, was it? You did that?
Well, I was kind of meditating, and I knew it because I'd been to Carnegie House about 6 hours before we had the spirit box and all that. Everything was coming through, all mad stuff. But it just crept into my energy. It wasn't physically in my house, but it was creeping into my energy. And it just made me freeze, and it was really strange. And I was like, I don't like this. It needs to leave. But I know that I went up there whenever I had disturbed. So I didn't bring the spirit box up the last time.
Does that go? But what if it does it not? Is there any that'll stick with you?
I'll be honest. I have entities around me, and they're always around me, and they work with me now. Nothing else can get a look in. And
when you come into places, is it in a place? Could there be entities in places like say in Carnegie
There
House?
could be emotional imprints, I think. A lot of if somewhere was very busy once upon a time, you'll find it'll always be very busy.
You know, like I think no. I don't know whether it's an age thing or something, but the older I've got, the more I've gone. Like movies predict the future. Like James Cameron, he's in Avatar. He's predicted the metaverse with the Terminator self-service checkouts, and I remember seeing something online about this guy chatting about the Terminator film, being like people will become merged with machines, and one of the like guys on it was like, people already are merged with machines. The mobile phone
100%.
is part of the. And then at that moment, I was like, oh my god, what?
Have you seen Black Mirror?
I'm too scared to watch it yet.
You will be scared when you watch it. You'll be like, oh, this is happening now.
Yeah. And like I've read some of the synopsis of it, and I'm going, if I start this, it'll fry my head.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be terrified about what's.
It actually is terrifying. The things that like they've got this they've almost got like contact lenses in where they can like rewind their day in their head, and that's what like airport security and stuff does to check what you've been doing that day before you get through security.
Yeah, no, I do
but
think.
Like that's it's gonna happen, man.
Yeah, there's stuff
I
like.
don't know.
And I remember when I watched. Have you seen the movie Minority Reports with Tom Cruise? Well, in it, the gist is he's like a detective, and there are these like I don't know if they're aliens or what they are, but they're these creatures that like float around in water all day but predict future crimes. Yeah. So they like whatever it is they predict this and always get it right, and it goes to like the police to the follow up on it goes to him
Yeah.
being like, "You're going to commit murder," and he's like, I'm not,
Yeah.
and then they're after him, and it's wild. But see, like criminal profiling and that's all happening, and we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what's going on with the government now. Like, so
Can't get away with murder anymore. Like,
no, gone are the good old days, where you could just murder somebody honestly and get away with it. But what is the greatest creation that you have seen on Bacon Impossible, or you have tried to make yourself? Like, what is the best, the feat?
I mean, the stuff on the show was way more than I'd ever. That was kind of I knew it could be done in theory, but it's great. I didn't actually have to execute anything. I just got to kind of watch it happening. But seeing somebody make a 6-foot pagoda out of gingerbread and then put it on an earthquake shaking table, that was pretty entertaining. I was kind of giggling like a schoolgirl.
It's impressive.
I was absolutely in heaven. But I didn't have to spend literally like 20 hours baking that in the kitchen.
See, whenever you were telling me that there, I just came up with potentially my greatest ever pun in my head. I was going to say to you, do you reckon you could ever make a rocket ship out of bread and then people could call you Jeff Bake-Off?
Is that your finest pun?
I think that's my greatest pun. Yeah, Jeff Bake-Off, as in Jeff Bezos. He made the Amazon guy, just in case people weren't on top of it.
Yeah.
And have you seen him recently? There was a thing.
Someone said he looked like Pitbull.
Yeah, well, he was doing this thing again. When you go on Twitter, you see like what are the trending things, and for some reason Jeff Bezos was trending. And I thought to myself, oh, he's probably got another billion here or whatever. I went on, and he was ripped. He was just like, again, and we've gone full circle in Speedos, but just jacked. Yeah. And I think what people were saying was, after his divorce, he just kind of hit the weights. Then, now you mention it, the next photo was him in like a pair of white trousers with like a multicoloured shirt on, buttoned down to here, and sunglasses.
It's got midlife crisis written all over it.
I mean, see, it's bad enough having a midlife crisis when you're just a normal guy, but when literally you can have anything you want. And he just wants to be Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Universe-wide he could be now with his...
I wouldn't put it past him to get into some sort of... well, I mean, when you got that much money, right, you could just release a song and then just pay for people to stream it. Yeah,
I know you would be more... See, the guy... What I don't get, right, it comes to the point, I feel like if I were ever to be even anyway rich, I would just do less. I would just, if anything, I'd be like, give some money to charity or whatever. But these guys, why do they always want to go to space? Like, it
seems to be the...
It's weird. Like, Elon Musk was the one, wasn't he, that he said, listen, if a charity can come and tell me what they're going to do with the money, I'll end world hunger. And then I think Concern or someone they crunched the numbers and were like, this is what you need to do and this is where I'll go. And I was like, I'm taking a piss on this.
It's just a tweet.
Yeah, to relax. So, like, these guys, but have you seen some of their ships? Like, do you think Jeff Bezos, when designing his ship, it's very phallic? You think he was in there and he's like, listen, for banter, make it look like
I want the top to be wider.
Yeah, make it wider.
It needs some boosters.
Yeah, and maybe that's what someone has sent you in your DMs, just a photo of Jeff Bezos' rocket.
Is it a photo there? Yeah. And, when it's all hazy in the background, it's genuinely difficult to tell if it's just like a nice little rocket landing or...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, or
something
a
taking
different
off.
Kind of rocket.
Yeah. Things, yeah. Is that the booster jets or
something entirely
hard
different?
To tell.
And do you find like ghosts are a thing that stay in a place, or do they
an energetic imprint that keeps playing out? It's like on a loop.
Yeah.
And I do believe you will go back when you die, and you'll go back to your happiest points and you play them out again. Mm-hmm. Do you know?
What is on the other side then, Glenn, do you think?
It depends who you are and what you believe, truthfully. Yeah. I often believe a son, say a mother loses a son, a young soul, for example, he'll be born again. He'll be born again in another body, blah, blah, blah. You put your wee old granny, she'll leave the earth, she'll go away for a while, visit whoever, and then she'll come back.
So like reincarnation to an extent, you would see?
And I think you are reincarnated automatically until you grow.
And do you feel like, what do you think about, when people say wee signs happen, like a feather will appear, do you think there are signs like that can happen?
All the synchronicity talking through everything. And you can see it through everything, you can see it in the wind.
Yeah. I mean, this is the quietest I've ever been to Paul. I'm just like...
Your little brain. See, he's the male brain.
Yeah, I am.
If you were a woman right now, you'd be ahead of Glenn by 8 steps.
True. Okay. I think so. But
I don't know about that, but they'll love to hear it. They'll really, really love to hear it. And it starts all that moving, and it starts them thinking, God, I actually am smart. I need to stop running me down.
I was watching a video of Hasbulla driving.
Yeah.
I was in a van with Paddy. Hasbulla was driving, like hitting his phone,
Yeah.
like with his big finger. Looked up, Paddy was driving with like his knees doing the exact. I was like, mate. He looks at his phone. He's like at that.
Paddy is honestly one of my favourite people, but
He's
he's
brilliant.
so ridiculous.
He's mid-
Like I would be shitting myself, be like, Paddy, you shouldn't be driving with your knees. I'm using my cock. No, it doesn't matter.
Butler was near tears. I was laughing at that how he thought it was safe. I was like, how is this okay to you? But all right.
I think he's wired differently, the man.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have I don't think there's a risk button in his head. That's the thing too. Like whenever you watch gymnastics, to me, it's one of those sports that when you watch it, you're in awe of like some of the routines and some of the like the flexibility, the balance, to coordinate all that together, to do things that like you look and go, that like you say, this shouldn't be happening. It's amazing. And like whenever you're saying about bodybuilding, so say they're approaching a show, they have to, they're at the worst, they're least healthy. If you're coming up to a big show, would you sort of crank up the training or try and reduce it a bit?
Yeah, so the way, like, I would kind of put that on my coach. He's big into his fitness, so he actually does be quite methodical when he programs my competition build up. So we would like build up really heavy weeks, and then when it comes closer to competition, like 2 weeks out, we'll kind of taper off a bit. And then that'll give like the body the right amount of rest to be as fresh as possible for the competition itself, and hopefully along the way try not to get injured. But something always creeps up, like day before you fly out, you like tweak your wrist or something happens. It's a pain in the hole. Like going 8 weeks for a competition build up, and then like the day before you fly out, like that's what happened to me. Like the competition before Olympics, I just like tweaked my wrist the day before we flew out, and it's like
that's
sweet.
all the work.
I know, it's such a pain in the ass.
Can we talk about the chakras? Because I know a little bit about them.
Well, most men are controlled by their root chakra.
Their what?
Their root chakra.
I mean, a lot of people would say that.
They
And
really
it gets you in a
are.
lot
They
of
are.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, my root chakra is...
And what
see,
is...
for a woman, this chakra here is also a brain.
Their root chakra?
Well, that's a brain too. But they're not really in control of that brain.
Yeah.
And I say it to women when they're young, it's okay, because it's your need to breed. When you're older, your blood stops and you change. And you get to become whole then. But while you're young, you have no control. You have to do what you're sent here to do. So they don't like that. They don't really like that, because why sometimes they're like, argh.
Yeah, well, kind of, especially nowadays, that people think you're almost telling them something, and they're like, well, what do you know? Because we're, and when you say root chakra, is that like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And what does... And that, I imagine that is a cause of a lot of issue.
Well, the root chakras, how a man would really govern his life, truthfully.
And is that why, when you get older and you don't have as many hormones, why people are a bit more settled and a bit more kind of...
Yeah, I would say so. But I do say that's the absence of growing your other chakras. Like, really, you should go from root on upward.
Yeah. I see, initially I thought when you said root, like the root of inside you, not your literal...
No, like your balls, you're right.
Yeah. Here's something that I've just recently, and I don't know whether it's an age thing, because I definitely remember, like, see, whenever I was doing like Nordy Shore and stuff, I would have been very interested in the comments and affected by negative comments. So I don't know if you were to see them, like you maybe read 10 really positive comments and one negative one, you get fucking raging about it.
Yeah.
Like I would have gone like, you fucking... But see, now I look at the people who are posting,
That's a big
and I'm
thing.
going, mate, you're 45, you've got a photo of Paul Pogba as your profile photo, your name's Decky_MUFC, and you've 4 kids. Go kill yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, leave the kids without a dad. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fucking loser. You're actually going on to YouTube going, oh, I'm watching this video. You should do this. I'll tell you what you should do, mate. Close in your fingers and cut them off and bleed to death, you wanker.
But that's...
I'm sick of it.
We see it at the small scale. Do you think like Kanye West is ever checking the YouTube comments?
Maybe that's why he's gone boogly. Yeah, that's why the fucking reason. It's Kanye West out there fucking preaching on a fucking rooftop because he's just on the YouTube and his phone raging.
Some sweaty fuckers like, I miss you, Kanye.
But like, true or false, you, I'm sure, have looked at things online and gone, that's shit.
Yeah.
When do you ever go, I tell you what, I'll tell them it's shit? You know what I mean?
Never.
Exactly.
My lack of attention.
Because you've got a life.
Yeah.
These wankers just sitting there comment on a couple of fucking lads, like you and Paddy, a couple of lads trying to do a podcast to give people a laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going and fucking... You're not commenting on the social and economic situation of the working class. You're making a funny podcast to give people a laugh. Why are these... I fucking does my head in.
But I would read a man very differently to what I would read a woman.
Right, okay.
Very, very differently. You have to understand women birth life.
Right, okay.
They understand a wee bit more.
Yeah. So how in terms of, this is obviously the first time we've met.
You know what the funny thing is a woman will come and she'll maybe need a few sessions to really even, to have a really powerful effect in her life. A man, I'll give you an example. A man comes to me a lot of months ago now, told me that he thought he was possessed, blah, blah, blah. He'd done this whole weird origami thing where he made a cross and it said help out of the paper.
Yeah.
Anyway, that day, I sent him home and it was all fine. The next week he messaged me, oh, I can't believe it. I've won money, I've just bought a brand new car. And this is a meal.
Yeah.
And he thought he was possessed. You know, and what he got out of that, the whole next week his life changed.
We have to talk about the beds because there was a lot of controversy about the beds.
Yeah, of course.
Like there was this story that came out and it was like they're trying to make sure that these Olympians are not like, because this, like, I don't know whether there's any truth in this, but there's this myth that apparently whenever all these Olympians are just in this village, it's just like a mad orgy, like something out of the olden days. And then like there was a story out that said they made these beds in Tokyo out of cardboard. So there were no sex beds. You couldn't have sex in these beds. Yeah. And then you did a retort video of you just jumping on the beds to show. And they were sturdy, the beds? Because I looked at it being like
too sturdy.
Yeah,
they're actually quite uncomfortable, the beds. But yeah, everyone is sending me these news articles of these anti-sex beds that they're being dubbed. And I initially just made the video for a mate. Like I just propped my phone up, went on the bed. I was like, everyone's saying that these beds are anti-sex, but like I started jumping up and down. I was like, it's fake news. And then I was like, I'll just stick it up on Twitter, sure. And then it just took off, went viral and all. And like a couple of days later, my coach is coming. He was like, Whoopi Goldberg was talking about you on her talk show. Like Jimmy Fallon was talking about you. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, and when you saw like Jimmy Fallon all talking about you, it was like, I know, it reminded me of like a South Park episode for some reason. Just like, that's Jimmy Fallon just going like, Irish gymnast, Reese McGlanagan. So bizarre. The whole experience is bizarre, but brought some real news. I think it was because it was early into the village. I was one of the first people in the village, so I was like getting inside knowledge that like nobody knew about.
Yeah, and for me it was an eye-opener because I didn't know that's the way people were having sex. Well, I think just to finish, an interesting point maybe is, where did the Ouija board go when you got rid of it? I
had to set fire to it, and I actually had to go, and it wouldn't burn. It really, it would not burn. It wouldn't burn at all. And I mean, I started to get really depressed, and certain things started happening. Like the radio wasn't plugged in, it went on and all, and it sung just weird things. I set fire to it, and it burned for about half an hour. You must have seen the faces and all coming out of it. Yeah, it's horrible. But I didn't know until I'd done that. I was asking for it. It really was. So, and if you have depression or you're not 100% there, I mean, it'll attack that. It'll get it. It'll stop the flow of what's going on right now. It'll really stop that. So anything you've got going on in your life, if you brought a Ouija board into the equation, it wouldn't be too long before all of those things that you once cherished were gone. So don't, anyone listening, don't bring them in. Don't. It's like a doorway, and you can't. Imagine a computer, and it's kind of like a computer, an old stick, all those symbols on it. It can be processed, anything can be processed out of that. You're not in control of that. That's like the cosmic apple falling from a tree. Yeah. It's deep, and it's a good way. It's a good way to wrap us up. So I mean, I feel like this is not the end of us. I feel like this is maybe the first of many podcasts here. Yes. Did you get a handshake? Oh, that's painful. Oh no. That's. We said we weren't going to talk about that. Producer Fiona, you need to. I know, PA's getting sacked for sure. That was the sore point. That was the one thing I didn't get. I got Starbaker twice, which was great. Never got the elusive. And to add insult to injury, in the final we were making pavlova, which you wouldn't think would be that difficult. Yeah. There's only 3 of us. The other 2 got a handshake, and I just got walked straight on by. No. It's painful to this day. You can never go back. No, and if there was like a, you know, my Big Brother did the ultimate, everyone like went back like and an All Stars. Yeah, if there was not, you still hope. There's still hope that you can. Well, I have been back for a Christmas special, and that didn't go well. No. So I went back with the other person who's the finalist, Jade, in my series, and she absolutely trounced me. Yeah. And rightfully so. So she's now kind of unofficially second. So I've got like a basically confirmed bronze medal. Yeah. That's hurtful. And no handshake, not. No handshake. It was. I basically made. It was meant to be a hidden bauble cake, but it kind of looked like 2 balls hanging inside a cake. It was pretty dreadful. It didn't look very festive. No hiding inside a cake. Yeah. You had to cut into them. Right. Okay. It was a bit, I didn't really think it through. It had this awful bow on top. Happy Christmas. Then. Most people don't realise I wear a wig.
Really?
Yes.
I have to say, it looks
I mean,
very, very natural.
I know.
Now, when you say wear a wig, is this like a hair system?
Hair replacement system, yeah.
And do you get that done in Northern Ireland? Do you have to
done in
go...
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Wow. It's fantastic work, I have to say. Yeah, it looks really, really natural.
No, what would be funny would be if you if you use my discount code, you can get it, and then next time you see me, we'll both have.
Do you know? I was thinking we did TikTok.
Lots.
We're ripping it off for a gig. Don't just piss the haters off.
How many years have you did that for?
I only got that done last May.
Yeah, well, it looks great.
Wow.
So I don't think I could be without it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you tend to it? Do you just wash it?
I just go once every 4 weeks and get it maintained. But I can wash and blow dry it and all. Like, it doesn't move. It doesn't come off.
Yeah.
You can pull my hair and shag me. It still won't come off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. You're selling it to me here.
Yeah.
Be your go-to kind of like food.
Pizza.
I'm going to throw some
A
recommendations.
pizza is my go-to, like, so because pizza is my favourite food. On the lead up to a competition, I just don't let myself eat it, and then like to celebrate or whatever, I just get like big fuck off pizza.
No, not the plug. This is not a sponsorship here, because this is not an ad. There's no, but we're open. Have you ever had Mana Pizza?
No, but I heard you talking about it, and I need to go there.
It's on the way between Arts and Bangor. It's a perfect wee spot. And again, this is like we were saying, you don't need there to be shops. It's like couple of shipping containers made into, and they're unbelievable. Like I had a surf and turf pizza from Mana Pizza, and it was just like really nice bits of brisket and prawns. I was
beautiful.
It sounds ridiculous on a pizza, but it works.
I do need to have a Mana Pizza now. It's stuck in my head since you said it. I was like, I need it.
No, it'll be well worth it. So that's a big motivational factor for me. It's like one of the first things I was like, right, what do I need to do to earn enough to keep the kids at the level they're at? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of my comedy money would go into, to be fair, money earned through comedy would be for like nice things, and then also equipment. So anything I make out of Patreon goes into this office space, Ben, the equipment. So the better that does, whatever. But now it's my only
the
income.
Money goes into Ben.
Yeah, you know,
Roll up a 50 and stick it on
he paints himself pink, and it's gonna be slot in his back, and I put the money in his bum, and then at the end of every month I hit him with a hammer, try and break the money out.
That's what they were doing.
In the lift. Fuck, I did not know.
Home.
I mean, if ever there's a place but we digress. But like, so for now I'm like, fuck, I need to earn X amount out of comedy and blah blah. And for me, I haven't, like, my Patreon's kind of been ticking over.
Yeah.
For the like, but now I need to crank it up. Need to get more bonus stuff out. Need to be doing more things on it and use it and make it better. Because some other Patreons I don't think are amazing either. You know, and loads of people subscribing, so it's have to be like up the quality, up what you get, and just hopefully
we have got just one episode in ours. What we did, I was just like, pay what you want initially. Yeah. And I found people actually pay more. Yeah. When you go just pay what you want. Yeah, no, I have 2 tiers. I have a £2 tier, which is like all podcast stuff, anything that goes like that. Then a higher tier, which is going to get more, like the Ulster Hall show. It's going to be done as a special. Yeah, it'll go to them. You know, other things. I'm working on something at the minute. Like, I got a GoPro and all, so I'm going to start vlogging more, doing bits like that. As part of this process of being full time, I'm going to teach myself how to edit. So the fact this setup, I've done it all right, is quite surprising, because I am a technophobe. Like I was saying to Andrew, who I had on earlier, that I had videoed Ben explaining to me how to work the camera. So like a wee old man, I'd videoed it, right? So he goes, so you turn this on, you press that button, that should be the video. And he'd done the same for the Tascam, explain how to use it. I just taken a photo of it, mate. That's how much a technophobe I am. I was like, you tell me how to work that thing, and I just fucking I had a YouTube video how to work that before I started. It's like showing my granda how to get Sky Sports on.
Oh, mate, I am fucking terrible nowadays. Like, I am just a technophobe guy. But again, I know enough to upload my podcast to Patreon and other bits and bobs. Yeah. And then before, like, I was at one, like a week ago, when I decided I was going to do this and continue with the Sly Guy podcast and whatnot, I was looking at getting another person on board to help produce it and all. And then Ben was like, you could just film it and record it. I'll cut it. And then that way...
And is Ben in work or something? Where is this?
Yeah, he works full time, son of a bitch. And was there a moment in particular that was like an epiphany? Like, you thought to yourself, I have something here that needs to be...
Well, it used to be like word vomit, Dave. It used to just come out. Every time I was out with my friends, or I just used to come out. So I used to read strangers quite a lot in the smoking areas. Any of you were ever in Belfast and Benedict's or anywhere, you probably see me in the smoking area before you see me on Facebook. And that's how really it started.
I'm the sly guy.
Dad in his boxers, pants.
Do you want to unpack that?
Well, hopefully she didn't, but I